Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another great Super Cool Radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a great guest joining me at this time. I'm very excited to chat with him. He is the drummer for Last Leg and the mastermind behind progressive metal band Take and Take. Please welcome Eddie Trager.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
It's awesome to have you on the show. I know we got quite a bit to discuss, so it's awesome to have you on the podcast.
Great.
Yeah. I know, as I said, we got a lot to discuss, obviously, with Take and Take, with the new album, but I'm curious for you because I read up on you, and you are a multi-instrumentalist. Is that correct?
Yeah. I just like to get my fingers all over everything, I guess.
I'm curious for you. So, what was the hardest instrument to learn?
Oh, hard to tell. I was trained in percussion, so that's kind of what I have the most experience with doing. I find bass, each thing has its challenge, bass is very awkward because it's big, right? So there's that challenge. For me, vocals are really difficult, I find. They're just because that's what I've done the least, I guess. Yeah, guitar, I kind of taught myself, and I don't do a lot of shred stuff, I guess. So anything that gets into speed metal territory or something, I really would struggle with. So everything's got its trickiness, right?
Right. So I'm curious. I kind of read a little bit in your bio, but how many instruments do you know how to play?
Well, there's the regular rock ones, bass, guitar, drums. I can fiddle around with chords on keyboards, but I'm not really a good keyboardist at all. I can make a chord, I could make a chord progression. But when I was studying music, I did a lot of classical stuff, and I did all the percussion instruments. So I played timpani and marimba and glockenspiel and vibraphone and all that kind of thing. So yeah, all the percussion stuff I've pretty much played or tried to play. And then I dabbled a little bit in sitar as well. I took some sitar lessons, which was pretty sick. I tried playing tabla, incredibly hard, incredibly difficult. When I played it's kind of it's basically a guitar, but it's called violão. It's a Brazilian 7-string guitar they use for choro music. And I tried to, and that's all finger picking stuff, classical 7-string guitar, basically. Super difficult. I was not good at it. I play with a pick. That's where I'm comfortable,
All right, so I got one follow-up question. We were talking about Take and Take, but how you played with many of these very sometimes unorthodox or exotic instruments. How did you have the opportunity to to learn with all of these?
Yeah, so well, I was pretty lucky to go to. I went to UC Santa Barbara, and they have a really cool music program there, on world music. So the guy who headed the ethnomusicology program was an expert in Indian classical music. So that's where I got to do the sitar and the tabla. Violão, I lived in Brazil for a while, and I just figured I'd pick up something, try to get involved in the culture a little bit. And I was always playing I just had a classical guitar down there. But I discovered a friend introduced me to choro music and the 7-string guitar and because the reason it has a 7-string guitar is because it's folk music and they just didn't play with a bass. so they added an extra string. And so it's its own certain style, right? Really, really cool stuff. So yeah, a bit of travel and college.
Oh, right on, right on. So, for you, what was like your most like favorite aspect of Brazilian culture?
I mean, it's like, um, yeah, wow. I mean, what I loved was like anywhere you were, like they would just like they would have rehearsals for like the carnival like performers, or like I think it was called like maracatu is the a type of music. It's like a street music with like drums and there's performers, and they would just practice out in the street. You know, like that's where they would practice. They just like go outside and have a rehearsal. So it was sweet. And then like all the bars and everything, like anytime you went out, like all the seating was just outside on the sidewalk and stuff. Um, so it's just very like open in that way. And like music and dancing are a huge part of the culture, um, which coming from like, I don't know, just like American SoCal is, you get it a bit with like, you can get it in LA. Like you get anything you want in LA where I am, but there it just seemed like it's just built into the culture, right? Yeah. Really, really fun. Cool to experience.
Oh, right on. Definitely sounds like it. I haven't left the U.S., but I always want to do some traveling. But I'm always curious hearing people's background and stories.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it, and it sounds like you had a great experience in Brazil.
Yeah, Brazil was cool. Brazil was cool. Yeah.
But right on now, I do gotta focus because I do gotta be talking about Take and Take because you dropped a new album March 22nd,
That,
Disillusion.
yes.
So I do want to start. So I've heard this band formed in 2016, if I'm correct.
Well, yeah, so the sort of, not really. It's kind of formed now, but I wrote the music. I wrote a bunch of the music in 2016. It
Okay.
just took me this long to actually like do it.
Okay. So how did all this come together? How did Take and Take come together? We'll start there.
Yeah, so it started with like I was traveling in 2016 in Puerto Rico, um and after that I went to Brazil. I was just writing on my computer, like just like taking chords and using MIDI and making beats and stuff, and I just wrote a bunch of this music that was like metal, that I knew was gonna be metal, in 2016, and I was traveling through Colombia too after Puerto Rico, and I just wrote it, but I couldn't like play any of it, and I had no idea what I was gonna do with it. I assumed I'd eventually make it, and then it wasn't until 2020 that I actually recorded a demo, uh, just because, well, I was a little disillusioned with the whole music industry, the whole thing, you know. I'd gotten kicked out of my old band, and I was all like, kind of butthurt, I guess. And I'd been doing the music thing for a while and had no money to show for it, really. And I was just like tired of it. So I didn't really like do anything with it, right? Not until the lockdown in 2020, at which time I was in China, of all places. And but I had time, I had an apartment, I had my guitar, and so I finally just did the demo. And and then after that, I recorded it again for the full length, for the real thing. Once I got back home here in California. Yeah.
So I'm curious. So obviously you're doing a lot of traveling. When you started music for Take and Take. So did like any like the culture traveling influence the sound of Take and Take?
Yeah, I mean, I would think so. Uh, I couldn't tell you exactly how, but like, because like it's a very I don't know, it's very personal. But I was doing it. I feel like I gained a lot of perspective, um, sort of about myself and about the world while traveling. and doing the like making these demos and stuff. And I think that contributed. Maybe it's most obvious in the lyrics, because I feel like I couldn't have written a lot of the lyrics without having the experiences I had, and like sort of the realizations and the mind expansion of just, you know, experiencing different places, right, that I wasn't used to at all. So I think that's where it sort of shows for me. Yeah.
All right, I've checked out some of the singles off the album. I really dig because it's very I some style music I don't listen to a whole lot. I don't go into like the metal side too much, but I really like it because it's not like just like straight metal. You include a lot of different elements with the music as well.
Yeah, I like to hear that. That's good. I love metal, obviously. It's great, but it's not the only thing I'm influenced by or that I like to play. Um, and I grew up on like a lot of classical music and the Beatles. So I love a pop song, I love a harmony, you know. Um, so it just kind of all goes in there.
Oh, no, definitely for sure. So I'm curious for anyone who has not checked out, Take and Take, the new album Disillusion, like what can they expect like lyrically and musically from the album?
Good question. So lyrically, this album sort of all deals with different, like either different phases of like disillusion that I had personally, or like experiences that contributed to like a change in my mind, or it's a lot of like inner versus outer, and like different perspectives talking to each other. um, Most of the lyrics kind of fit around that. um, and then musically, I just took a lot of influence from everything that I like, from metal stuff. Like I grew up on like the old like melodic death metal stuff, like the early In Flames and Children of Bodom and Metallica, and going back to Sabbath. But then I was also influenced a lot by um, the Beatles, or like Jacob Collier, and so I think musically, I it's I tried to keep it a little bit fresh and diverse. There's like a bunch of keyboards and orchestrations and harmonies. At one point, there's a choir where I put like 60 layers of myself, all singing. So it gets pretty. And then there's one song that's just an instrumental with two guitars and bass and drums. So like I feel like there's a nice range of instrumentation, and um, I tried to be like I tried to choose like cool sounds, like with the keyboards and uh, the guitars and the bass. And Matt Bayless and Jens Bogren did amazing work mixing and mastering the thing. So they really made that shine. Super happy with their work, of course. I mean, they're amazing.
Oh no, definitely for sure, and definitely a very high quality production. And as I said, it's just you include a lot of different elements in there. That's what I really like about it, because you do have like some more unique sounds. You got some keys in there, and vocals as well. So overall, I've been really digging it, and I definitely I look forward to seeing like how this project progresses.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I have no idea what will come next, because it's been such like a one track focus of just like, can I actually get this thing out? Like, can it actually happen? So I don't know what's gonna happen next, and I don't think I can ever write an album like in the same way, process wise, like the way I started writing it. So I don't know how future music's gonna end up, but you know,
Hey, we'll just
that's
have
not true.
to be determined with that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, do you have a favorite song off the new album?
Oh, it's like choosing a favorite child, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't really say I would say in terms of like, if you want like full prog, Get Off is a good one to go for, or Constantly. It's like 8.5 minutes long. Has some of my favorite riffs. Like one of my favorite riffs is in the song Constantly. If you want like a straightforward pop song, there's the song Grudge. If you want like big choirs of me singing, it's the last song in the album has that type of stuff. But I feel like every song has its own unique character, and like has something that I really enjoy about it. Um, yeah, so really hard to choose for me. It's all sort of like one thing.
No, I completely understand. Obviously with everything and you creating, all the music and stuff. But for me personally, I like Sticky and Digging. Those are my two favorite so far.
Oh, nice, cool, yeah. Sticky is, I mean, the reason Sticky was the first single was, I mean, it is good. I like it, of course, but like that was one that I could like manageably, like on video, play everything. That was like part of the reason I did that as a single, for the first
Okay.
single. I was like what song can I actually like get in front of a camera and like play all these parts like in a smooth way. um, and so Sticky was there, and it's a pretty good song too, I guess. So I hope.
No,
Yeah.
so, sometimes it's all about logistics with how you do stuff, so I completely understand.
Yeah, and if I was like, I have a band, I have guys who play now. We have a show tonight um, for the album release. But at the time I was filming that video, I didn't really. I mean, we had started practicing, but no one was ready. So that's just how it happened.
All right, on, right on. So yeah, so with the albums, I assume playing you're playing all the songs off the album or just a select few?
For the album release,
Yes.
yeah, we're only doing 5 songs tonight.
Okay.
Keeping it short and sweet, like a half-hour set. And then we got 3 other bands playing that are really cool. Our friends in Grudgebot, this band Grudgebot, they do like a little more traditional thrashy stuff. Really fun, interesting stuff. And then Trepidation, which is like groovy, lower tune stuff, and Count Vine, who I haven't got to listen to too much, but they're sweet, like kind of thrashier stuff too. Yeah. So I mean, it'll be a fun night.
Oh, definitely. I hope everything goes well for you and all the bands there. Sounds like it's gonna be an awesome time.
Yeah, thanks.
So as we're starting to close out this interview, I'm curious for you. So like you kind of already touched on a little bit with direction of Take and Take, but like what is like the rest of like 2024 looking like for you?
Oh yeah, hard to say a little bit. I've got so we're doing. I might do another for Take and Take. I'm not sure. We're just gonna do shows and keep it local in LA for the time being, and then probably do another music video for one of the songs. Something, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I do have other projects happening. So like my punk band Last Leg will do another EP that I'll produce again, and then I'm mixing a project for a band called Vile Life, friends band. They're really sick, like brutal hardcore. Um, so doing a mix for that'll show up at some point. And then I've got like some kids music I've been working on. Funny enough.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I'm hoping to like get that out. Might travel a little bit, just like for family stuff. My wife is Chinese, so um, might travel a bit and see family. But yeah, we'll see. I'm not sure. I've been really focused on today, actually. I've been really focused on today. We'll see what happens after today.
Oh no, right on. I wish you the best. It sounds like you got a lot of great projects in the works, and from multiple different genres as well, from hardcore to kids music. That's a very wide range. So I wish you the best with
Yeah,
everything.
I like to keep it diverse,
Oh, for sure. I can dig that. I can dig that. As we're closing out this interview, so for Take and Take, Last Leg, for you as well, where are the best places to find all of those online?
Best places. Well, if you want to support us directly, the best place is Bandcamp. Throw us $5 or $10 and buy an album digitally. Otherwise, like all the streaming sites and YouTube have it. So whatever your preferred streaming services will be there. But yeah, Bandcamp is the best for supporting independent artists. But, yeah.
Right on. I will leave some links for everything in the description of this podcast. Please check out and support all of these great bands. Eddie, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a fantastic time chatting with you.
Thanks very much for having me.
Of course, for Eddie Trager, I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching. Listen to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.